Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is episode number 178 of the Audible Farm podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. I just got some Couchtown Coffee in the mail not too long ago. You can too. It's really easy. All you got to do is make an order at www.couchtowncoffee.com. They'll make coffee, roast it for you any way you want, ship it to your house. It's one of my favorite coffees I've ever had. I got a variety pack recently, different types of coffee, even a couple of them roasted different ways, just to try it out. So check it out, couchtowncoffee.com. Find a coffee you like, make an order, and when you do, let them know Audible Farm sent you, and they'll give you 20% off. Why? Because Couchtown Coffee is that awesome. Thanks, Couchtown. This week, I'm sitting down with Clint Riedel. If you listen to the podcast and you don't know Clint Riedel yet, I guess go listen to an older episode. He's been on the podcast quite a few times. This might be number 7, number 8. I'm not sure. He's one of my favorite guests. I have him on all the time. I hang out with him a lot, and he's a fun musician. This week, we sit down and we talk about recording different types of music with different people, and we talk about what's some more stuff? It's such a fun episode. I mean, we're playing shows coming up. There's new people coming to jam nights. We talk about either playing kind of off the cuff or planning out what you're playing, flexibility of musicians, all sorts of stuff in this episode. It's really, really fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's number 178 of the Audible Farm podcast, and I'm sitting down with Clint Riedel.
It's the Audible Farm podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
So I'm sitting down with Clint Riedel today, and Clint, you're one of the guests I've had on the most, but consistently, people like to listen to us talk.
Oh, we're interesting cats.
Well, it's definitely you. I mean, it's obviously a guest-driven show. I see the statistics on the solo episodes, but seriously, it's always fun to have you around and to bring you back in here. I mean, you said it before. This is pretty much just an extension of a normal conversation for us a lot of times.
For sure.
So, recently we were at a jam night. It's really fun to go to the jam nights that you have up here. You're the host, and I don't think people give you enough credit for like being here week in and week out. I recall when I first started coming to the jam nights here, they were kind of sparse. There'd be some weeks where it would just be like 3 or 4 people here tops.
You, me, and Brad hanging out for like 2 hours and then just hanging out. Getting to know each other.
Yeah, and I mean, now we're to the point where pretty much every week it's almost like somebody new pops by, which is kind of fun because it's neat to know that a lot of the musicians around the area are kind of venturing out and seeing what else is out there in other towns, So it's cool that you got like a neat little hot spot up here.
Yeah, I think it's like an oak tree. It planted and it grew and it just took a long time, but now it's really like it's getting there. It's becoming sturdy and stable and only getting bigger.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I mean, like recently, it's really funny because like we'll have weeks there where I'll show up and it's just packed wall to wall, and I get to play a few songs here and there. And then there's also weeks like recently, it's like there was one week where I was the only one that played leads, like a few weeks ago.
That's a rarity anymore.
Yeah, it was like weird because it's like I'll do it, but then it's like I also don't want to just sit there and play guitar for like 4 hours just for
Yeah, no doubt.
I will, but like it's also like I'll just play when I want to, and so it's kind of weird, but it also like opens up the opportunity. It's like there doesn't have to be somebody playing leads.
Yeah, oh for sure. There's so many variations that go on, like just even a change up. Like you hopped on the drums a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, Pete drums too. All right.
Yeah, I mean that was like a weird one where like I think all the drummers that were there had gone, or everyone was just kind of taking a break, and maybe Owen was playing. So I like played drums with him for a while. It's like, okay, like I played some with you for a little bit, and I mean,
yeah, the looseness of that jam is what I think really sells it. Is there are no rules other than try not to be a jerk,
Yeah, I mean, you might see Jeremy Ober on a bass guitar,
Oh God, shredding, yeah,
it's hilarious. It happened, everybody. But yeah, I mean, that is also like the really fun thing. You might see, you don't know who's going to be on what instrument. You've played electric guitars. We've had random people coming up playing bass every now and then. It's really fun. Somebody will sit back on the drums and play a couple songs because it's just
some of the most
fun to
unique
branch
instruments too. Like this old timer. Oh God, I don't want to get the town wrong. I think he's from Gowery, but he brought over a wash tub, put a stick on it, and then used that string and was just like bending it, for tone.
Yep.
It's like some of the stuff that walks through there. Or Kirk, you've had him on your podcast.
Yeah, Kirk Bricker.
Cigar Box, he'll show up.
Yeah, I don't think I'd seen him since he was on the podcast like years ago.
Oh, and to see the growth too of
Yeah.
like everybody, like how
Yep.
he started out and how he's playing now, and it's only progressing. So
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I saw a guy get up there with a cigar box. I'm like, that's that Kirk Bricker, and you're like, yeah. I was like, holy crap. I mean, I had to like sit down and think. I was like, he was like episode like 20 or something like that. It's like
how many episodes are you into now?
170 something. Like,
Jesus.
so it's like that's like 3 years ago. That was the last time I saw him. It's wild to think that kind of stuff. So, it's also really cool to, like you said, see random people swing out and watch their growth. I mean, it's tough to chart the growth of something so huge and monumental, but like when Owen came in, he was obviously
no
like
doubt.
wickedly talented, but he figured out how to play along with other people better.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's the growth that we got to watch, was like getting used to playing with other people, which I guess is something that does take some time and energy to figure out, because it's always...
Yeah, you can be as good as you can get, playing by yourself in the basement, and then put you in with somebody else, and you just don't know like etiquette, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like, okay, now it's my turn. Scott Dahl said the best thing. He's like, get in the way when it's your turn to get in the way and stay out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's pretty much just, you got to know when to stand out, but like, how do you know? That's like the big thing.
Yeah, and that only comes with, playing with other musicians. And
Yep.
Owen's growth in that has really grown.
Yeah, it's wild to watch him like go out there and just
here
play
we are
along.
like talking about Owen's growth. That kid is like, he could just go to Juilliard right now and start instructing people.
Yeah, he came in more talented than we are, and it's
Oh,
pretty
God.
funny. So it's
I love you, Owen.
Love you, Owen. Oh man, yeah. So I mean, it's really fun to watch like different people swing by, and you never know who's going to show up. And I think that's one of the fun things. Like, my stuff's always going to be there for the most part. I'm usually here when it starts, but it's also like there have been weeks where I haven't shown up, and other people have also brought electric guitar equipment, and we let them do their thing. Sometimes there's 2 guitars, sometimes there's 2 basses.
I like it when we just get like a new, kind of selfishly, a new like singer in there, because then I can just sit down and watch, because if I'm the only one up there singing, like, sure, there's been a bunch of great instrumentals that go on up there, but I feel like obligated to sing a little more often than like when Jeremy shows up and Jesse and, Emily and everybody else. It's kind of nice those nights where I sing 2 songs, make sure everything works, sit down, and then just watch the talent.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the other thing a lot of people, don't think
it's
is...
such a good free show in the middle of the week.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people that come out and just enjoy it for what it is, I mean, I bet it's for some of, like, the really niche market people, but it's like, yeah, I've seen Clint play, and I've seen Jeremy play, imagine, like, if you're listening to this, just, like, imagine somewhere in your neighborhood if you're not from around here. So it's like, I've seen person A, B, C, and D play multiple times in my area. Let's go see what happens when they jumble them up and put different members in different stuff and see what happens. Like,
exactly.
Some
That's
people
the best part.
Some people would really find that entertaining because, like you said, you never know what's going to happen. It might be, Ring of Fire, but it's 12 minutes long and full of bass solos. Like, it's
like if you've seen Matt Woods and Jeremy Ober and a couple of your other favorites, and now imagine them all hanging out in a living room, because that's what it feels like at the Junkyard. Everyone's just like, wanna? Sure, why don't you play this? Okay, sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty, and it's fun because, like, it doesn't matter if somebody takes a break. There's usually some music going on with somebody, and on slower nights, sometimes it's just like, oh, it's it's the acoustic guitar and drums right now. That's all that's going on. Or like, because the bassist is taking a break, and the guitarist is taking a break, or whatever it happens to be. But it's always really fun because you never know.
Yeah, and it never sits idle long. Like, even if it's just Owen on spoken word bass solos, it's like that's 10 minutes. Everyone has time to have a cigarette, come back in, and regroup.
Yeah. I mean, I also think there's a difference in the way people want to approach music, because I have talked to people that are like, I like to know what I'm supposed to play and when I'm supposed to play it, and it's like that is also a very good feeling too, because I've played in bands where that's been the occasion, where they're
much
just
more
like
structured.
yeah, everything is exactly this many that's, so that way we can like hit every one of them very aggressively and we know where they're going to be. It's like that makes sense, based on whatever style of music you're trying to play, and it is a bit more polished off, I bet, when you're playing live with like, the Blue Ribbon Ramblers. I'm sure you had a pattern you followed for most songs. There wasn't too much room for like wiggling around.
Yeah, after playing that many shows together, you get that unspoken like, okay, Jordan's gonna hit this hard now, so Caleb sees that coming.
Yep. Yeah, everybody kind of knows where all the spots are, but like at jam night, it's not. Sometimes those spots are a little bit sloppy depending on the songs.
It becomes comedy too. Like, oh man, that would have been so good.
You destroy a song and then wreck the ending. Like
every time.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like it happens sometimes, but
ooh, we might do that this Friday. I'm not sure when's the podcast come out, but
this comes out Thursday. So
nice. Then we'll pretend it's Thursday. So see you guys tomorrow at Legendary Byron's, because you and I are playing there.
Yes, it'll be my first time at Byron's.
I'm excited, man. The Hallowed Walls.
It's gonna be super cool. If you guys want to like listen to something fun, I did a podcast with Byron. I believe he was episode 69, I think.
Nice.
Because somebody made a joke about that, and Byron laughed because Byron's funny.
Oh God, he's the greatest.
Oh, he's so fun. Legendary Byron's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I've seen so many shows there. Never played there, so it's going to be really fun to get an opportunity to go play there. So.
Oh, I just the last show I saw there was Chicago Farmer, and he is phenomenal. Any of you out there in the world, please check him out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so just to stand on the same ground feels really good to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's definitely. that I'm like relatively new to playing in this area, so there's like I've seen a lot of shows around here in northern Iowa, and I'm just like I know what towns have places and like where they're at, and I seen pictures and I have like a list where I'm just like I want to check these places off and those places off,
sure.
And there's places I want to play, and Byron's is definitely on the list. So I'm glad I get an opportunity to do that. But, it's like one of those things where I feel like because I'm newer, I still have the excitement of being able to do that kind of stuff, where there's people that have probably just like, oh man, I've played at Shiny Top 27 times. And it's like, I've only played there once, man. I want to play there again.
No doubt.
I still have that excitement, where, every show feels like super fun to me, no matter where we're at.
Oh, and for it being in Byron's, like the love in that room, it helps my music out a whole lot, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like I said, I've seen a lot of shows there. You've seen a lot of shows there. There's a wide variety of music that gets played there because Byron just loves music, and
he's got the greatest quote. It's live music only happens once. Be there,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm not sure if there'll be door prizes when we show up or not.
I would think so.
Well, I hope so.
If you've never gone to Byron's, he hands out door prizes and like has a raffle and gets a member from the audience to be Vanna.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a fun time.
It's so interactive. It's just, I wish there were more listening rooms like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a fun place. And like, I saw Marbin play there.
Why have I heard of that?
Maybe I've talked about it. It's like some jazz fusion.
Like Israeli cat from Illinois.
Yeah. Danny Rabin. I had him on my podcast as well, and that was a fun one because I'd seen them play like 3 or 4 times, and like one time they were coming to Des Moines, and I was just like, hey, I've interacted with you like before and after shows and stuff because I've seen you at like multiple shows, because they tour a lot. They tour so much, and so like I remember just like hitting him up like, would you want to do a podcast? And he's just like, yeah, just come to a coffee shop. So I went to a coffee shop and met him there and did a podcast with him, and the rest is history. But he's played at Byron's, his band, the whole jazz crew. It's wild to listen to that kind of music. It's just so many crazy sounds coming at you all at once, and
nice. It's honestly just another reason to be excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So if you guys don't have plans, that's a good place to to head to. I don't know if like there's a poster for it. I didn't look too much in it. I don't know if it's a free show or what's going on.
Yeah, his poster guy came out with a really cool one just like overnight. He just put it up. I only noticed it today, so.
Yeah, that's when I saw it.
Yeah, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking poster. So it's gonna be a fun time, going out there playing that. And it's along the lines of like, some people enjoy playing kind of random sets with different people. You and I have played shows together, and I mean, like, there was one occasion where I just like for fun brought along a pedal that like was for people that are nerds. It's like an octave pedal, so I just like lower my guitar an octave. And for the non-nerds, it would make my guitar sound like a bass guitar.
Checks out.
So like I would play with that like one show, and then eventually I was just like, this is too much, hopscotch. It's too much like clicking pedals on and off, and then it's time to hit a guitar solo, and then it feels weak because there's no bass behind the guitar solo. I was eventually just like, whatever, I'm just gonna play guitar, but I'll be playing bass with you.
Yeah,
Saturday, so that's gonna be a fun one too.
Yeah, Molly McGuire's. I haven't played up there yet, but I stopped in and I had a couple of beers with the owner. They were closed, but he welcomed me in, and he's a good dude.
All right, so you've seen the inside of the place.
Yep.
Looks cool.
Yeah,
I saw some pictures.
I walked up on his stage and he said, because I brought my guitar and just started singing some John Prine songs to him, and he's like, "You're in." He's like, "But you go up on that stage," and I walked up and it's huge and it's beautiful, and he's like, "Yeah, this place needs a band, kid." And I'm like, "Oh, no worries. I know a couple people."
Nice. So that'll be a fun time, playing some music. So, be playing bass with you. That's something. It's been a while since we've done.
And I'm finally playing with Jordan again. He's going to be playing leads, and I haven't. We don't play enough together. That's for sure.
I think this will be my first time playing with Jordan.
Oh yeah, because you, Brad, and I have played. You, Caleb, and I have played. Man,
I don't know if I've played with Caleb on a show or not.
Didn't take you to Grumpy's, Ackley?
Yeah, but we didn't have.
Oh, that was just you and I.
You and I, and then there was another time you and me and Brad were there.
This is the beauty of being hitting the streets, beating the bushes musician. You forget you do so many good things that it all just happens, and you wait for the next good time.
Still fresh in my mind. A lot of it's still pretty fresh in my mind, but that's another place that was fun. Like we were there when there was like a super super ridiculous big crowd, and we were there when there was a really small but like ludicrously interactive crowd as well. Yep. Which like that's super fun to have both. So that's the other fun thing is like going to places where it's like I never would have thought to like go to Grumpy's and Ackley and play a show, but
I've learned just to not. Expectations will be let down or superseded, so it's just walk in and do the best you can to have a good time and get your story across. So
yeah, it's true. I mean, two
or 200.
That is like a good way to put it though too, because like I don't know, it sounds weird, but like the first advice I ever got when I started playing live shows was somebody told me like don't ever this I don't want to say told me like they said don't ever expect your friends to show up to your shows, which was like weird, like advice. It almost felt like harsh, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of understand where they're coming from because you don't want to expect things because you'll either be, like you said, you'll either be let down or your expectations will be so low that it's like, might undersell yourself.
And it's like Brad says, because I was getting a bite to eat before a gig, and he's like, "You're not eating there, are you?" And I was like, "Well, no." He goes, "Good. No one wants to eat the musician. No one wants to watch the musician eat. It's like watching the stripper put on makeup. That's you didn't come here to meet him as a person. You're supposed to be bigger than that.
There is some testament to that as well. So like
sell the myth.
Yeah, and it's weird to say that because I'm not one to be like put on a costume and act a certain way and burp-a-derp-a-derp. Yep. But at the same time, like I do have a little bit of that in me. I mean, like. For all the people watching Patreon, like, yeah, I changed my hat, but I probably should have wore something else because I just look like a giant black blob here. But I'm wearing too much black today on
Church
the podcast.
Pants.
I'm sorry. Church pants, yes. So, yeah, either way, but, like, there is something to be said about that, too, though, because I do go to shows, and I, like, especially in, like, the summertime or like the dead of winter. Like I will come in looking one way and I'll go up on stage looking another way.
Well, for sure. I got
And
my playing hat. It's
yeah,
almost like Dumbo's feather.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good example. You don't really need it, but
Damn it if it don't help.
yeah, exactly. But you kind of do. So I have a little bit of that in me, and there are definitely times where I've used a lot more of that to like put on airs at certain places to like kind of look a certain way, just based on like certain bands I've been in. Because sometimes it's just like, well, you can't just go up there with like cargo shorts and
Yeah, if you look like Brad on the
flip-flops.
golf course and then you go up and start playing at a punk show, they're going to be like, is this guy being ironic?
It's
You
like
know?
too much, like I don't know. But I also understand like that's kind of the beauty of playing like in Three Finger Betty is like we don't really have that like any of that. Like yeah, John will show up in like Birkenstocks
Sure.
and cargo pants and then shred your face off, and it's like, oh, that's hilarious. Like this is
Exactly.
awesome, you know.
And the age difference, it's nice. It's just, you can be whoever you are because you've earned it by this point.
Yeah, it's true. That's another fun thing. Like I was thinking about with Jesse's band. Like we have somebody I think we have somebody in 3 or 4. Like everyone's in a different decade of their life, or like
Oh, yeah, with Cole being,
we're right there if not. So like it's pretty fun to have like those different things where it's kind of fun to have. You get to see like the different generations, the different opinions, what influences everybody, and how everybody interacts and stuff. It's also fun to like, I'm soaking in a lot like in the music scene. I'm just kind of like learning from everyone, like different people's work ethic. Like I ask a lot of people weird questions like, why do you take some bookings and not take other bookings, and like why do you feel a certain way about this or that? And some people view things differently based on whether or not they have like kids or a family or like whatever's going on in their life or what point they're at or what they want out of music in general. So it is kind of fun to like sit down and like even run into all these people playing at jam nights, like just random people, and kind of like pick their brain a little bit about certain things, and just kind of talk to them and interact in that way.
And it really is just like the different lifestyles, like with your full-time job and stuff, and still out there beating the streets as hard as you are playing music. It's like, man, I'd be tired. I'd be way too tired. So hats off to you guys, Like,
yeah. I mean,
everyone approaches it differently. It's nice to see how they do it, like Jeremy, how often do you practice? And he'll tell you, and it's like, okay, that explains it. You're fucking awesome. And that's why, time and energy.
yeah. I mean, he said something fun to me recently. Like, there's times when I'm playing music when I don't think about what I'm doing, and sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's not good. And he's like, well, if the way he worded it was pretty much like thinking is for practice, and then when you're playing at a show, you don't have to think, and you just do things. And it's like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's like it's weird that just like comes out, and he says that. It's like that. Exactly how he said it, if I could remember, would probably be a very quotable quote,
No, for sure. And it's honestly, I've relied on that for probably a few too many shows to where it's like you get beyond that threshold of drunk and you're just wasted at this point, and you've got another hour left at least, and you're like, I guess we're running on autopilot, and it works. It's weird as hell, and I've relied on it a few too many times, but yeah, it's just like you get done. People are none the wiser. It's like that saying my buddy Hippie said, no one knows you fucked up until you tell them. Like if you hit an off note, like someone might notice it, but if you jump back into it, if you don't just like tune your guitar while the volume's way up, no one notices. It's a moment and it's gone, and if you keep playing, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you just keep going, I mean, that's
Yep.
the big deal, is just keep going, because
Yeah, and if I had to think about it, I'd be in trouble, But luckily, it's just all those hours have paid off, and it's just, here we go, autopilot, take me home.
yeah, I mean, if you're with a band, you can't stop the band and tell everyone to keep going, but there's like a way you can kind of like signal to the band you need to regroup in a certain spot, which like,
Oh yeah, they all understand when you go through that cycle one more time before you get back to the words. They all give you that look, and you just like, it's
yeah,
coming, it's
yeah,
coming.
Yep. Yep. So like, I mean, that's also the beauty of like playing with other musicians. They can kind of get what you're saying. Like, a good example would be like Clint Wheelman playing drums at the jam nights recently, and he doesn't know all the songs. So like when we play like weird one-off songs that we don't play all that often, like every now and then I'll give him like hand gestures to be like, all right, now bring the drums down at this point,
I was watching you play last night with Jesse, and Clint was up there, and you were like a choir director. It's like, okay, guys, with your body language and everything else, you were letting the world know what was about to happen because you're so frequent with Jesse that it's just, I might as well take this over because I can do this without thinking.
Yeah, I feel like that's something where like Clint Wheelman playing the drums, like if he can like read that body language and understand what's
great.
going on. So like that's just also what comes on in jam nights. You kind of read what people are doing. Like I was noticing that Owen was really good at that. Like he knows if a solo's coming up and I can like catch eye contact with him, I literally just like point at him, and he like either
acknowledges
or he says no, and it's just like it pretty much is just like Owen take a solo, like
sometimes he flat refuses, just like everybody else. I would look over at Jordan, I'm like, go for it, buddy, and he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, we're going back to the chorus.
It reminds me of some like Tenacious D stuff, like engage.
And they're just like, yeah.
It's so hilarious. Like, yeah, he's such a fun kid to like go play and like do that kind of stuff, with
and bless his heart, I was playing a pretty like lewd song, and he just set his bass down. It's just a fun rap, and he set his bass down and kind of walked off, and it's like, I'm not comfortable playing that. I'm like, good for you, man. The world hasn't tainted you yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We haven't brought him down to our level quite yet. So, hats off to him for at least maintaining some innocence out there in the world.
Love you, Owen.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, like that's just one of those things about jam nights and playing with other people is like it benefits you when you decide you want to like go out and play with somebody else. So if it's just like I'm playing a place that like I could play alone, but it would be definitely suitable for 2 or 3 other people,
Yep.
So like you can bring along an extra guitarist, or you can bring along a bassist, or both.
Yeah, and the beauty of playing so often with so many different people is everyone is busy. Like we've all become such good like music swappers,
Mm-hmm.
We're like swingers out here in the music scene because I got Jeremy coming with me. I called you up to see if you could make it, but you'll be playing the metal show at the Fort, but I'll be going down to St. Louis, so it'll be like me, Brad, and Jeremy. That's just an odd combination, but it's going to work out great.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not...
It's not that odd anymore after the
know?
jams. And well, Jeremy and I have played quite a few shows. We got another one where we just piggyback together and, have a good time.
That's really, that's another fun thing is like I think versatility definitely does help. But it's that double-edged sword of like you don't have the benefit of like having sat down and played these songs together a million times, even though
you just got to check your ego at the door. Like things aren't going to be picture perfect because we didn't practice.
Yeah, exactly. So like there is those moments, and I think that's one of the fun things about being a musician is knowing when everyone's kind of like, are we slowing down here, or like the person playing leads is like obviously playing leads that are leaning towards like I'm gonna go towards like the home spot, like the last chord stopping spot, like
yeah. The rest of the band's like, oh, I thought you were gonna keep shredding, but I'm over. Okay, here we are.
Yeah, and there's sometimes where you're just like, I think we're gonna end it here, and then you just like end it with like one of those notes, and then you're just like, oh nope, the solo's gonna have to keep going for another X amount. So
love that spontaneity.
It is really fun. I really definitely enjoy that, and that's. I'm glad that people enjoy me playing along with them, and have, you've given me like a lot of opportunities to play shows. This last year, Jesse Wilson invited me along to like a bazillion shows, and this year he's been doing a lot of solo shows, and hats off to him because like,
oh, it's that evolution.
It's back to can you soak up 3 hours by yourself,
Yep.
And it's not that I'm adding a bunch, but I'm adding enough time.
Another minute to every song with the solos.
Yeah,
like,
so
that's 5 less songs in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So if you stack it up like that, it's just like you got to play 15 more songs, but it also gives them the opportunity to play new songs. And
where he doesn't have to worry about anyone else behind him. So
exactly, it's tough to learn a new song and try it for the first time with multiple people.
Word. Yeah, because you're all learning it then.
Exactly. That can't be the first time. So like you go out there by yourself, you learn it a few times, and then you're just like, hey, I'm playing this song, I'm confident, now you follow along, and that's pretty much where I cut my teeth playing at jam nights.
And the world knows how I feel about like iPods or iPads or whatever cell phones on the mic stands, but for Jesse's gig, like that works out well. I've seen him just like someone will shout something out and he just starts playing. I'm like, oh man, you just made that table lose their mind. You're doing the good things, you know? But on the other hand, I will say if you're a musician and you're not using it for that effect, remember your words, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm horrible at remembering lyrics, and that's the one reason. That's like the big thing that keeps me away from actually going out and like attempting to play shows. Is like I cannot remember 3 hours worth of music's words. I can't. I don't have.
It blows me away that you guys can remember like the perfect, like the notes, you know, like this note is coming and this just, you know, like, well, I guess I'm just a rhythm guitarist, but it blows me away that you guys, it's like a piano player. Just floors me watching someone play piano without the sheet music in front of them.
Oh yeah, that's pretty wild. And that's like another thing is like I'm teaching bass lessons now, and one of my students is I taught him how to play the bass, without like reading music, and now we're learning how he knows how to read music. So now I bridging the gap between the two, where it's just like here's these notes and those notes, and this is where they would be on a staff, and now he like knows how to read music and play bass. And
So he's miles and miles ahead of the average cat already, because you know we all start just like, well, this is a G chord and strum for the next 5 months.
yeah, so like I mean, there's certain people that you can like run into. It's just like they know how to do certain things that you don't know how to do, and I'm sure there's people that are blown away. Like I can't read sheet music for guitar, but I can play it. But I can like read sheet music for other things.
That's wild.
And
I wish I would have retained all of that. You know, like the trumpet in 8th grade and stuff. I think that would have gone so much easier with the transition into guitar. Or I could be completely wrong, you know, like maybe can't pick up a tuba after playing a guitar, you know.
No, I mean you can pick up whatever you want. I like when I first started learning how to play guitar, and I had like what I consider like a decent grasp on it. I'm like, okay, here's the keys, these are the scales. I know all the chords, bar chords, regular ones. I know how to kind of like trick my way around most stuff. And then it's just like, what's another instrument? So the next thing I tried to play, I believe, was a mandolin, and it was just like, how do I play chords on this? No, it was definitely a ukulele. Definitely ukulele. But it's like, how do you play chords on this? What are they? Where are they at? And then it's just like, what can I incorporate from the electric guitar on this? And it's just like, oh, I could put bar chords into this and do these things, and this is where this could get weird, And it's like, I kind of got the gist of how to play a ukulele, and I'm like, this is pretty fun.
Oh man, I picked up that banjo thinking like, well, this before I figured out like the chords would be completely different, and the tuning's completely different. So it was like, oh god, all right, I see why like Taylor Swift and other cats play like a 6-string band. It's just a banjo sounding guitar. I'm like, maybe that's the route to go, because it was so hard. I got like maybe the C, G, and the D chord down on that, and that was about it.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, no doubt. That's all I'm playing in anyway.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those types of deals where I feel like once you kind of start to learn another one, it's really not too terribly different. Like, the ukulele is pretty close to a guitar anyways, but, like, a mandolin is, the way it's tuned is slightly different. So, the strings are tuned a fifth apart instead of a fourth.
My buddy Hippie gave me a mandolin, and I messed around with it, but it was just so frustrating trying to keep it in tune. Like it was like a Rogue, know.
Yeah, they have. That's what I played on. They're not cheap ones. Are not easy to play.
No.
They say they have the curse of the guitar, and don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure the strings are a fifth apart. Or write in, call in right now if you're listening.
No doubt.
No, but I think the strings are a fifth apart, which makes it like
Impossible.
it just makes the chord shapes different, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to think. I believe that's correct. Anyways, long story short, yeah, it's like slightly different tuning, but yeah, it's not too terrible if you like just start learning another one and just like whatever. I guess it's just another instrument.
Well, and as much as Chris Steele annoys the hell out of me, like he took over Garrison Keillor's job and just ruined my favorite show ever.
Well,
I mean, he made it his own show. He didn't ruin that one. Mine just ended, and then he came on with this, and I was expecting it.
Nobody could be what Garrison was, and he got,
I see he's performing up in Minnesota, like in a couple months. I'm going to try and get tickets, buddy. We should go.
Oh, that's awesome. I've seen Garrison
One of the greatest
once.
storytellers there is.
Yep, and I've seen Chris Thiele once.
And that's what I was going to say is, like, I do not like that guy for ruining my show, but I do respect the hell out of his playing. He's just... Like, he's the metal of mandolin. You
Oh
know?
yeah, I went through and was just like, I got to see the best person at everything. So I went and saw Chris Thiele play with Bela Fleck,
Oh, man.
and Bela Fleck's like the best
Banjo player. Him and
ever,
his
so.
wife are just phenomenal.
So that was a crazy show, and the wild part about that was like I parked in a parking ramp like right next to it, but it was like hard to get to because they had like a part of a street closed off or whatever. Long story short, my phone had died, so I like went to go put it in my car so I could charge it so I could get something to eat after the show. And I believe the show was in Omaha. But yeah, I go put my phone in my car, come out of the parking garage like out of the wrong door. I don't know what I was doing, but it spit me out right next to their tour bus.
Oh, sweet.
And they were just standing right outside.
Whoa.
And I was just like, "Oh, what's up, guys?" And they were just like, "Hey." And I remember Bela pretty much just said hi and walked away, which is cool.
Yeah, he's like, this guy could shoot me. I don't know his intentions.
Yeah, you don't know. And Chris Thiele was there, and I talked to him for like a short bit, and I was just like, I don't have a camera or anything to like take a picture of this because my phone's upstairs.
Bummer.
And he's just like, that's cool. You still have this moment.
Exactly.
And I was like, that's pretty neat, you know. And that was kind of fun, especially because like that show was sold out, and I like StubHubbed tickets for it, and they weren't like ludicrous, but they were like twice as much as they
I believe it
should have been. So either way, like, yeah, that's pretty
getting
rough
to
deal.
getting to meet someone you really wanted to meet anyway or see. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's a crazy one because like the best ukulele player ever is probably Jake Shimabukuro, and like
That's a mouthful.
yeah, he's like Japanese and Hawaiian, I believe. He's got like a documentary. If anybody wants to watch it, it's super cool.
I
But
think I have seen that. Honestly, now that you bring that up.
yeah, it's like called like Life on Four Strings. He's a really cool guy. I like went to a show somewhere, I can't remember where, but we like showed up like the doors were all open and stuff, and they were taking tickets, but like it was way before the show started, like an hour and a half or 2 hours before the show started, and we were just kind of like standing in a hallway, like talking, me and who I went with, and he just walks up and he's just like, "What's up, guys?" And it's just like, you know, we weren't where we shouldn't be. We were just
Yeah.
like
He made
hanging
it a
up.
point to come out and see some fans.
Yeah, he just like walked out, was just like, "What's up?" And you know, like all these people were like crowding him and taking pictures, and it's not like a million people were like there, but it's, you know, 5-6 people start taking pictures with him, and then when they're done, he just like walks over. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" And it's just like,
See you guys from the stage.
yeah, it's so cool to be like, that's cool. And so I like met him. He's a nice guy, but that's another one where it's kind of weird. Like I got to a point in my life after I'd taken so many pictures with so many like famous people, I eventually was just like,
Yeah, it's
Like,
like I just need that moment. I don't need the proof.
I
Yeah.
know it's in my head, and I don't really
Exactly.
need to be like, you know, social media. Look at me, I met this guy. Woo!
Honestly, William Elliott Whitmore, when I was at Hinterland, he got done with his set, and he's milling around, you know, thousands of people at this point, and he's just sitting by a merch table that we happen to be standing by. I look over and I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" And he's like, "Pretty good. Good turnout, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, you did really nice up there, you know." And not a camera in sight, nothing, you know, just he's a dude walking around. It was one of the coolest experiences as far as idolization goes, because there was everyone I wanted to see at that concert, and he was one of them. And then to just have him standing there like a dude, it's like, oh yeah, people are people.
Yeah, it's really wild to like, you know, have that realization, but it's also kind of like cool to just be like, yeah, I kind of met this guy. You know, it's nice to know that when people aren't nice, that you can just like check the box of like, this is a good person, or at least they were to me, you know. But it's also kind of like I said, like Bela Fleck, he wasn't mean to me. He said hi and just walked away. But it's also like, I totally understand that, you know, especially if someone's just like, oh, this is the 493rd person that's just been like, oh, I love you. You know, it's
sure.
almost like the dudes in Saving Silverman when they're like, Neil Diamond, you know. Like,
Yeah, and we're not big time by any means, but seriously, I like to show up at a bar or wherever I'm playing like an hour before and set up, get ready, just to, you know, wind down, have a beer, get your head ready. But sometimes it's just like set up and go, or there's people that want to talk to you and you're like, I just really wanted that 10 minutes, man. You know, he could have been like, I just really wanted this 10 minutes. And he's like,
yeah,
I'm out of here.
I mean, that's another thing where like I try to tell myself that at shows. If for some reason someone talks to me, believe it or not, it's like I get a lot more for the podcast than I do for like me playing shows places, which is kind of fun. But
Oh yeah, when we were walking around, it's like, oh, the podcast guy. Yep,
yeah,
that's me.
yeah. It's happened before, and it'll happen again. I'm sure somebody will hear my voice and be like, I know this person. But I did have somebody say they've seen me on their Facebook feed and they couldn't figure out who I was, and then they saw that I had the podcast hoodie on, and they were like, that's the podcast guy or whatever. So they came over and said hi.
Well, and hats off to you with the marketing. Like, there isn't a spot in Iowa that doesn't have the Audio Farm Pig on it somewhere.
Oh yeah, Audible Farm Pig. Yeah. It's awesome. I love it. I might or might not be in the market for doing a new logo, but I have one more I want to put out, I think, before I put out a new logo. So,
and just because you have a new one doesn't mean the old one's gone.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I did a small run of, I'm not wearing it, we got it on, but I did a small run of the one shirts, and might do a small run of another one, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun to like go places and have people like run into you and know you, but it's also kind of just like, it's a little humbling. It's almost a little anxiety giving, you know?
I was driving, I don't know what parking lot I was pulling into, but I pulled in this parking lot. I'm like, well, this guy's a dick. Way to take up freaking 2 spots for no good reason. And then I look and there's like, what are your stickers on the back window? I was like, I'm going to tell Pete about this guy. So,
that's hilarious.
Like, you would actually know him. It's everywhere, you know?
Yeah, I have no clue who it is. Yeah. How many thousands of stickers have I sold, given away, etc.?
Seen in a urinal, you know.
Oh my gosh,
everywhere.
They are everywhere. There's a crazy thing. Somebody put one on a light pole downtown over there outside of what I guess just outside of the Eagles Club. Hey, Cat. And so like,
oh, goody.
It's been there for like 2 years. It's like, I figured somebody would have peeled this thing off by now, you know? It's wild that it's still there. It hasn't been painted over yet or anything. But, I mean, we stuck some downtown in Iowa City.
Yep.
And a handful of them stayed there. Some of them didn't, understandably.
Most of mine didn't, unfortunately. But, you know, I'm competition, I tell you.
Well, I think some of it is just like I know some of the places we chose to stick them probably weren't the best. So, like.
That actually checks out.
Yeah, it's just like. You think garbage would be a good one, but the sanitation services in some city are just like, no, you're not doing that to my garbages.
Yeah, we're trying to keep this clean.
You're putting the garbage inside the garbage can. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
I get that.
Yeah, so,
but the rain gutter ones and stuff, those seem to stick around.
Yep. I mean, the toilet sticker was always a fun one. Like, I tell people I started that. I've seen it other places, and everyone probably has, but like, I was the first one to start doing that in like a lot of the venues I started going to, especially in the urinals. And there's a couple places that have now just like the urinals are covered like front to back, wall to wall with stickers. And it's like, that's hilarious because it's a thing, you know, and it's good the stickers are good advertising, you know, you can give them to anyone. They can put them on anything. I can gauge a lot about a person by their, you know, guitar case. And the stickers that are on it, because for some reason we all sticker it up. You know, it's rare that you see a clean case walking around, but yeah,
it's like, oh man, you've been here, you've been there. Or, he obviously loves himself some beer, or plays at a ton of breweries. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I had somebody asking about all the bands and like what kind of music they played, and it was as I was looking through my sticker case, like guitar case.
Oh, that was me.
Stickers.
You're standing there. I was like, okay, what about these cats? Never heard of that.
Yeah, this is like a horn band. They're from Wisconsin. This is a metal band from California, and it's just like, wow, there's a lot of crazy different types of bands on here, you know. And I always just like supporting other people. Like when I was in Jesse's music video, I wore I think a Matt Woods hat and Vince Benishek, Vinny and the Night Prowlers shirt.
Word.
You know, so I always like doing that. And some of that just comes over from the punk scene though. Like those guys would always have them wearing other bands' shirts and other bands' merch, like up on stage, because they just
trying to push each other out there.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what this podcast is about. That's kind of like what the scenes, a lot of places are starting to look like, from what I can tell online. There's a lot of jam nights showing up, and a lot of people like, even in like the other Facebook groups, getting like really positive results out of like inquisitive
people are coming
things
together now instead of slicing it down.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Just had a conversation last night with a new singer guitar player in town named Nisha, but she's from Oklahoma, and she she knows a bunch of people who play in bands and stuff down there. One of my friends being one of them, Josh Poloshchik, hippie. And, well, anyway, she said last night at the jam that she made, she was like, it is a whole different scene up here. Like, people are just happy to help. And, you know, like, Jeremy walked up and asked her if she has a set. And I was like, man, you can fill in for me if you want, you know, on set breaks. I'll buy you a beer. It's just the positivity and the encouragement around here is such a, not a new thing, but such a wonderful thing that she was like, I don't see that down there. And I've been in the Oklahoma music scene. It's pretty cool and it's pretty supportive. But I think we just flip over a rock and there's a musician that's willing to help you up here, you know?
Yeah, there's enough of us that know each other where if one of us vouches for somebody else or somebody new comes in, you know.
Oh, sure, and we're all sharing venues. Like, Jeremy, you got to call this place. And, you know.
Got to check out this place. We'll put in a good word for somebody, you know. And that's punk rock, man. No, that is back to that whole thing, though. Like, when I was growing up, it was always about like where other bands stuff, and when I finally joined a punk band, it was like I'm wearing Americature merch, I'm wearing TV Cop merch, you know, I'm going down the list of all the stuff I have to the point where it's just like I'm wearing, you know, I'm playing shows with Jesse Wilson. It's like I'm wearing a Regional Rock Hour shirt tonight or whatever, you know I'm gonna wear it, you know. And like tonight I got my 92 Rock shirt on. I was recently on 92 Rock, so I guess I should probably support the shirt.
Yeah.
Rock
Hi, Josh
that,
Mason.
everybody! Boom, the Regional Rock Hour.
I see Josh Mason tagged me in a post the other day. Is like some punk rocker wants to do 50 states in 50 days, and they're trying to find one for Iowa and stuff. He's like, hey, Nate, have him open for Clint. I'm like, I don't know anything about this cat, but that's got to be funny.
That would be cool.
I don't even know who it is, but I think that'd be just funny as hell to have some guy doing something that epic and I get to play with him. That'd be awesome.
That'd be a tough one, but it would be...
And I don't even know if he's just joking out of sarcasm, but I was just like, oh, man, to think of me. Thank you, Josh Mason.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's awesome. But, yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, I guess that's where my personality comes out most of the time. I'm watching your cat scoop food out in its hand and lick it off its hand.
She's smart.
It is the weirdest thing. It's like his cat is grabbing the food and eating it. Like,
well, I learned to elevate the food dish.
It's going like this and eating food.
Bear in mind, she's only got half a jaw right now because of the cancer.
Yeah, she's not doing very good, but she's doing really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, hats off to Goody over there.
39 more years,
Eat
please.
Cat food. This is a fun one. This is why you got to get the Patreon. You actually can't see the cat eating food.
And you're welcome for that.
But yeah, so anyways, yeah, so like knowing there's new people out there still coming into the scenes, there's like new people coming from other scenes, and we have all been very excited and happy to have them here, and different people have like taken to different people that have been around here. So like our scene is big enough where it's just like, you know, oh, so-and-so is pretty good buddies with that person, or like, you know, I've had them on my podcast and people get inquisitive, they hear about it and they're like, I need this person here.
Yeah, it's such a spider web. It's not like a bunch of different, you know, columns or anything. Everyone is connected in this place. Like, you're 2 steps away from any musician in this vicinity. Like, if you know Chris Carr, then imagine how many people you know through him. And if you know,
wow,
you know,
yeah. I mean, there's so many people around here that I don't even know. Which is like one of the wildest things to me. It's like I've done 170s podcasts. I would say at least 100 of them are people that are in my area. At least 100.
Oh yeah, and there's still 100 to go that you don't even know about yet. And
yeah, I mean, there's people I know of that haven't even been on here. I could probably name 10 of them. You know, so it's just one of those things where I just have to get it done and make it happen, you know. I get it that some people think it's an invite only. Like I've had people recently just been like, I've been waiting for you to ask me, and it's like, that's cool, but like you don't have to. Like you just have to hit me up, and the timing has to work, and it's unfortunate that sometimes it doesn't. But you know, you're always here and willing to help out. And
the beauty of being a full-time musician. Like if I had a regular job, like I say, I wouldn't have near the ambition. Well, I'm 44. So it's like a nap would sound really good after a hard day's work. Thank God I don't have a hard day's work.
Yeah.
Water heater.
Okay, I was wondering. I can barely hear it through my headphones. I was like, something's going on, but
that or a train.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was a train. I was like, man, these noise canceling headphones are insane. Like if they work that good. But yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I just think the music scene in general is changing, and a lot of people are more willing to go out and do these types of shows, like we were talking about. That's why you need the Patreon, everybody.
Get it, goody.
I don't know if you can see that or if I'm going to crop part of that out, but it's hilarious. The cat's blocking some of the shot.
I hope she just peeks right at it. I saw this thing on the internet called Vibe Cat, and they just have this ridiculous green screen video behind this cat. Yeah.
Yep, the cat's just vibing.
Absolutely love it. So I hope Goody just vibe cats real hard.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the cat's definitely going to be in some of the shot.
Oh, speaking of internet sensations, you heard the Island Boys yet?
I don't know.
They are horrible people.
I know what you're talking about.
So I think I'm gonna become a rapper because that looks pretty profitable for not much.
I saw a tiny glimpse of it and that was about enough.
Oh my goodness.
So it's just like anything though. Good rapping is
for sure
tough. Same thing with just about anything else though. You can get passable at a lot of things, and if you're passable and you're flashy or you have something that's memorable, people, boom, you're in. It's an easy formula for certain people to nab onto, but what you don't want to do is grab the low-hanging fruit, and some people don't care about grabbing low-hanging fruit.
Oh God, they are those people.
It's totally kosher, and I mean, I feel like it's kind of like one of those double-edged swords, like fashion. That's the second time I've said double-edged sword, so it's wild. But it's just like fashion, like you have to kind of get into it. But at the same time, like before you know it, you're going to be 20 years down the road and still have bell bottoms in your closet or whatever, or whatever it is. You're like, I can't believe I wore these things or whatever, just looking at pictures of yourself from 15, 20 years ago, whatever it happens to be. But
that's why I always take the medium route. Like I'm just homeless chic at all times.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. I came in here dressed up like Johnny Cash or some crap.
The Man in Black.
I was just thinking our hats actually match, which is kind of wild. We got the same color hat on.
I just got this Lake Marie John Prine song.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got me a John Prine book with like 60 of his lyrics or songs and lyrics and chords in it. So it's crazy. I'm so glad that I started writing songs before I had ever heard of John Prine or listened to him, because if I would have known about this first, I would have been like, I'm not doing this. Someone already did it. Because it feels so similar that it's like, God, this is crazy. But like Jeremy says, you can't write anything new. Everything's been used. There's only so many chords that work together. Throw a different story on it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, that's true to an extent, I would say. Like, I doubt anyone was, when they came out with Metallica 1, I doubt anyone was just like, that's been done before. There's some things
true.
where...
Yeah, like the different sounds and techniques, but as far as like structures, like chords only work together in so many ways.
That's true, yes. And if you're playing folk music, there's everyone...
Nashville number system or whatever, right?
There's so many people that have done every chord progression in folk music, so you're kind of SOL on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, until I learned some classical guitar, I think I'm just stuck where I am.
Hey, all right, you got an objective now, so...
I'll have to go talk to Igor.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
I played with him a couple of times down at Bootlegger. Like, he sat in there, and he's like, so you want me to play along? And I'm like, well, yeah, man, let's do that. He brought his amp and his guitar in, and I'm like, well, we probably don't need any, like, metal sweeps or anything, bud, but, let's just hang out and have some fun. And he was tactful and on point, and like some of those sweeps really worked out well.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Some of the songs he'd fold them in there in certain spots, and they worked out pretty well. What's up, Cat? There you go, everybody on the podcast. I got a cat on my lap that you can't really see it because I'm wearing black clothes and the cat's dark colored. And the lighting isn't the best.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Christmas lights are still hung by the chimney with care.
They are actually very much by the chimney with care, which is quite wild.
Can't believe we don't have a fire going right now. It's like -9.
It's very cold out, which is kind of weird because it was pretty warm out and cold out, but it's just the way it goes up here in Iowa. You think everyone would be used to it by now, but obviously not.
My buddy Brad just sent me a picture. He's down golfing in Texas.
Oh, wow.
80 degrees. Palm trees, blue skies.
That's pretty awesome.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, Brad. You're listening to this on your way home. Love you, buddy. But yeah, I mean, you go. Oh, easy, Cat. You and I have a lot of shows coming up, and I mean, it's wild to know you book a lot of shows on your own. You've been playing quite a few shows this year whether it's just you or you and Brad or whoever you decide to bring with, you're starting to branch out again into like St. Louis. Oh, the cat's gonna come back over here. Well,
Best friends. Peter Stockdale's here,
Yep.
goody.
So you're starting to branch back out into St. Louis area and
Yeah, getting up to Rochester, Minnesota, and
Cool.
all points in between, and just
might as well.
yeah. Honestly, if it's willing, I am. So, oh, goody.
But yeah, you've also been like dabbling a little bit. I mean, I was just looking at the time. We've got quite a bit of time in here, but we've been dabbling a little bit. I don't know if we talked about this in the last podcast. I don't think we had done anything with it, but kind of just to see if we could do it.
What goody?
Okay,
She doesn't
Kat.
know what
All
she's
right.
doing.
So we had recorded some of your songs recently, and I don't want to say like it sounds weird to be like we recorded them. I'm a producer, you know. I'm an engineer. It's like no, I don't. None of that is the label that fits me, and that's not me being humble. That's just me saying it for real. So like, I don't really know what I was doing, and I was just like, let's just put some mics up and see what happens. And I like went online, and I was just like, people were just like, hey, we used basic mics into basic setups, and this is how it sounded. It sounded pretty good. And I was like, let's give it a go and see what happens. And so like my objective was pretty much just like play some songs, you know, see what happens. I'll record it. I'll just dink around with like mixing and just for fun, you know, give me something to do.
I don't like that we're recording like songs that I, necessarily wouldn't put on an album. Like some of the more vulgar or the quicker ones, or
Yeah, the ones that are like haven't gotten out of a poem state or like something like that, where it's just like this is a song but it's a minute and a half, and for some reason I feel like it should be 3, but this is all the longer it is, So
yeah,
like,
unless I'm throwing a lead times 10 on there.
yeah, and you and I don't have the objective. Like we kind of were just like now we understand that if we wanted to, we could put something like a demo out for you pretty easily.
Oh, for sure.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, do we want to put any of this stuff out that we recorded? Probably not. So like you've been dabbling with other people recording your stuff as well, just kind of.
Yep. I got Troy. I was over there at his studio in Eagle Grove, and geez, I think we got 9 in the can right now. And you came along and played leads on a couple of those.
Nice, that's cool.
And then renting the cabins. Goody. Say hi to everyone. She's like, well, now I don't want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a cabin. I got a flat picker from Decorah. Super nice guy named Simon. And maybe a keyboard player from up there as well coming down, and it gives them a place to stay. And Brad's pretty excited for the producer side of it all. Like, just mic the rooms or the area or situation. He's in charge of that. I'm just going to show up and remember words. But it's 2 days. I figure like Houses of the Holy or what are the Little Pink House, like the band.
Mm-hmm.
Just all these places when you force that energy into one space and there's nothing to do and nowhere else to go, no need to go anywhere. I think you can get a lot done in 48 hours.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, it is kind of fun to know that you have that ability to go to one of those types of locations and pretty much have most of the day to kind of just do whatever you can do. I've been in situations where it's kind of rushed. I've been in situations where it's not. I've seen situations where it's been rushed, and I've seen situations where it's not.
Yeah, each environment adds its own texture. Like Scale House Sessions was recorded right here, just in some of the weirdest environments. Like I was gargling microwave wild turkey because I had a sore throat that day for one of the sessions, and just it all adds to it. It's all that the spontaneity of it. Like if I cut an album down at Sun Records, I think it'd sound a little different than like sitting around here.
That's true. I mean, and that's just the thing. Like you've got enough in your catalog where I feel like we should probably give you a good attempt to just put out like a 2 or 3 song random EP just for fun of like.
Oh yeah, and there's a couple of those out there
that could be doable.
Yeah, like I forgot that there's a one take or a one track of like Bent on Liberty and stuff like that, or When the World Dies, the video that you made for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those are out there. They're not on any album, but like you can find them. So then do I put those on the next album? Because they're already out there. They're already produced, but another take on it, just a different environment. I don't think it would hurt anything. As I'm listening to these John Prine records, there's like the same song on, 4 different albums, but it sounds, the situation was different, the arrangement might have been a little different. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing the same song twice.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's something you could grab those two and do something like call it just those two songs that are out there and not on an album, call them like the Scalehouse singles or something like that.
Yeah,
or
that
something.
works out well.
Just put them out together on like a thingy or whatever.
Yeah, so they are out there. If you're listening, check out YouTube, I think.
Or that's something where you could take those two and you could pile two other ones on there that like that I demoed and just be like, there's two demos for you, so hooray.
Yeah, it honestly wouldn't take much to throw together another 3 albums. It's just time and getting it together and not wanting to rush it, because just think how much better it is playing that song an extra 150 times out in the honky tonks and whatnot, and now going in and recording it rather than when it was fresh. It might have a whole different life now.
That's true. That's very true.
Let it mature.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to know that you got like all these different recording options when how many years ago it was almost impossible to find somebody to record you, and now it's like based on like you and me tinkering around, I already kind of sort of a little bit knew what I was doing, but at the same time, like, that was the first time I'd ever recorded anybody playing music for the most part, so it's kind of fun to just be like, hey, this is what we came up with. When you're playing the harmonica, don't play it too loud because I don't want this to happen. You're like, okay, and you just lean back and did all the control with the volume, and it came out sounding pretty okay.
Yeah, for trial and error, I don't think we had too many errors.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So, hats off to you for doing, going out there and finding the people and I think trying to do something.
I think posterity, I think all of us musicians, especially us local ones, should take advantage of that a lot more often. Like, there is that opportunity. It might not be, classic and cut and beautiful and polished, but it's recorded. So, like, heaven forbid I die in a helicopter accident. Not that I'm going to be in a helicopter anytime soon, but
true.
Those words are gone forever. They might be there in my notes, but the voice is gone.
Yeah, I mean, having multiple versions of different songs, like at different points in your life that are important to you, like you could write a song and not resonate with it as much when you write it as you do like later in life. It could actually come back to like really hit you or something like that, where you're like, I'm going to put out another version of this or whatever on this.
Yeah, like that was a good EP. Song, but I hear it this way now.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Or like the different person who recorded it decided they think it sounds best mixed like this. You know,
so they want to try it, and I'm willing.
Yeah, so you could end up with that because you do have. This is a good way to get close to the end of the podcast, but you do have not only the Scalehouse sessions available to listen to everywhere, but you do also have some EPs and demos
like from
and singles and
Junior's
stuff.
Hotel and
yeah. So those are all on your Bandcamp, which the link for that will be in the description section.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah,
Absolutely.
You set all this up for me. That's the God's honest truth. I'm horrible with technology, and you sat here and took the patience and time and was like, well, let's do this, otherwise no one's ever going to hear it. It's like, all right, let's do that.
Well, it was another one of those things where I didn't really, it's not like I didn't have anything better going on at the time, but I really didn't. I didn't have anything to take up like my day, really. So I was just like, hey, what are you doing? You want to make one of these? And so we just like got all the media together. I put it all in digital form and put it online. I was just like, there you go. And it's like, I've done it before and I kind of understand how it all works. So I was just like, yeah, it won't take me too long. And it didn't take me any more than like an evening to put it all together, So It was like, here you go. And so yeah, if anybody wants to check that out, that's there.
Thank you.
Maybe a new album coming out, maybe sometime soon, maybe some new
really
demos
soon.
or singles or something from somebody.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Who knows?
You never know.
I spent a little time in Jesse's studio too, so there's a plethora of it out there. Just a matter of picking, choosing, polishing, and putting it out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's totally up to you. Well, you went from not having a choice to now having all the choices and the balls in your court.
Yeah, it's a horrible life, I tell you.
I hope something good comes out of it. I know something good will, but
definitely.
I'm excited to see what it is. So,
well, thanks, buddy. I'm excited to play tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. Come check us out at Byron's, everybody. Tomorrow night. We'll see you there.
See you, buddy.
And we're done. That's a good episode. It's so easy to do an hour with Clint. I don't know why. It's probably just because we have such a good rapport with one another, I guess. But oh man, so much fun to sit down and talk with him. He's got some stuff in the works in the background. He's always doing something different, it seems like. And he's going to go out there. He's going to play a lot of shows. I think he said This week he's got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday shows, including some shows in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be really, really busy this upcoming weekend. I'm playing a couple shows with him. He's bringing different musicians with him pretty much every night to almost every show. So go see him somewhere. I got his links down below. He travels across Iowa, sticks around to the north central Iowa area quite a bit, but hit him up, find him, check out his music. It's all the links are down below to go find everything you need to find for Clint Riedel. And if nothing else, it'll take you to places that will tell you all about him. So check him out down below. I love having him as a guest, and everybody seems to enjoy listening to these episodes. So I'll keep making them with Clint here if you guys will keep listening to him. So thank you guys very much for listening. If you guys are looking for anything Audible Farm, those links are down below as well. The Audible Farm shop is up. It is there. We've got stickers and t-shirts, no hoodies yet. I apologize. I did have somebody ask about the hoodies recently. Sorry, no hoodies yet. So otherwise, I've got audiblefarm.com. There you can find all the Audible Farm links, including all the social media. Go to Audible Farm on YouTube and check that out. There's some fun videos of guitar refinishes and maybe some like little bits of videos of guitar mods and things I've done to certain pieces of equipment. And those videos get quite a few views, believe it or not. So check that out if it's something that interests you. Otherwise, I got little slideshows of me refinishing guitars and making them look all pretty and stuff like that. So you can check that out there too. It's on the Audible Farm YouTube channel. I think I'm out of here for the week, everybody. I will check you next week. Peace.